In this episode of Fictional Hangover, we talk about vomit as a superpower, drama on Courtroom TV, dancing sexily in a giant cake, capitalism being the ultimate bad guy, and realizing we are Class A's. Ooh, yikes. In our discussion of Teen Killers at Large by Lily Sparks. Ooh. Oh no. Oh no, this is bad. Hey everybody, welcome to Fictional Hangover, a podcast about young adult and new adult, and sometimes other books, series, authors, voice actors, and illustrators that is full of spoilers. I'm Amanda.
And I'm Claire, and today we're going to discuss Teen Killers at Large by Lily Sparks, with Lily Sparks, at some point in time, which has actually happened at point of recording, because we remember it.
We do. We were there. Standard disclaimer. If you haven't read this book, please remember that Fictional Hangover is all about spoilers. If you haven't read or listened and don't want to be spoiled, stop listening to us and go read or listen to the book. Then come back. If you haven't done this but want to pretend that you have, or if you don't care about spoilers, or if you just like the show so much that you don't care about any of that, then listen up.
I honestly thought your standard disclaimer was going to go, standard disclaimer, we are ridiculous.
I mean, it is true. It is true.
I see no lie.
No.
No. Right, well, I know for a fact that the conversation with Lily Sparks lasted more than 5 minutes, so we should probably just delve straight into everything. So hit me with some background information.
I read an interview back before Teen Killers Club came out, but I think it's still applicable. This is with the yellowbackhimalayan.wordpress.com. And they posed the question, we all seem to be in a power struggle with the authority that unknowingly seems to be controlling us in one way or another. What are your thoughts on this? And as the book has been written for young adults, how would you advise them/us to deal with powerlessness? Ooh. And one of my favorite things about Lily Sparks is just how intelligent she is. And
intimidatingly so.
Yes. So I really appreciate what she says. And also this quote, now it doesn't necessarily exactly tie in to our bonus episode, but there are hints that are very similar. So I'm just going to read her response. There are a lot of ways you can be controlled, and few of them are as obvious as having a kill switch in your neck. You can be in a coercive relationship, like Signal's friendship with Rose, or a cult, like the Constellation, and feel like you're making choices when you're not. Ultimately, power starts with being able to think critically and make your own decisions. To quote En Vogue,
nice.
Free your mind. The rest will follow. And the best way to do that is to read as much as you can.
Wow.
So, spoiler alert for the bonus episode, friends. There's a lot of music quotes. One song in particular.
Oh, Lily just gives us some beautiful renditions.
So good. She's so good. I love everything about her. And moving over to initial thoughts, I love everything about this trilogy. And I'm so glad that Kendara Blake introduced us to Lily Sparks. Like, it is a magical friendship that has come about from Kendara going, hey, you guys would probably like this book. You should talk to her.
You see, this is what I like about Fictional Hangover, Friends of Fictional Hangover, like the authors and the narrators and everybody behind the scenes, you know. And toot, I think this speaks something about the podcast and you and me, that people are willing to make recommendations, because word of mouth is the highest possible compliment to say somebody, you need to check this out if it's a book. Mm-hmm. You know, somebody's personal recommendations are better than reading a recommendation from an unknown source on the internet. Somebody saying, hey, you need to read this book. But for us, I found particular pride in what we're producing by people like Kendara, and we've had it with Dawn and Kat and Amy, and you know, these wonderful, spectacular authors who are just delightful people and so talented have reached out to their friends and said, you can trust these girls are going to look after you.
Yes.
And they're going to enjoy your book.
Yeah.
And you're going to have a good conversation with them.
Yes.
And I hope that people, our super fans, our listeners, I hope anybody who listens to the podcast, especially when we do the interviews, picks up on that as well.
I think that they do, and I think that they will. That's one of my favorite things about our podcast that we've been doing for a very, very, very long time.
You just aged massively in that split seconds there.
I did. I really did. But I appreciate that we can continue to do it every single week without fail. And we still, we have our old favorites coming on again and again and again, and they're always excited to come on the show and talk to us. And we're still getting new people that want to come on and talk to us too and share their stuff. I really enjoyed this year doing the new and indie spotlight episodes.
Oh, definitely. It's definitely something I want to keep going with. And don't forget, we have competitions of people wanting to be the number one most guest person on the podcast.
Yeah, I think Lily might be.
She's a contender.
She is. And PC Cast is still up there too.
Yeah, Jackson Ford, Dawn Kurtovich.
Mm-hmm.
Kat's probably coming up as well.
Yeah.
We should probably work it out and post a leaderboard.
We really should.
Draw up some competition for them.
Yeah. Also, Kandara. Don't forget about Kandara. And I feel really bad. And this episode is going to be forever long because we continue to talk. But we've got important things to say right now. We have completely missed out on Kandara's latest trilogy. We haven't done a single one of those on the show and forced her kindly, with all the love in our hearts, to join us again.
We haven't, and we also haven't finished her Buffy series.
I know.
So, dereliction of duty, terrible. But the new book club themes are going to be released very soon because, guys, it's November.
It's November.
How freaky is that? So we're going to be releasing the new book club themes soon, and they may fit in one or two of them.
Yes. But also, when we share those, we share all year before the new year even starts. So feel free to recommend books to us that you think we would enjoy that would fit in with our weird themes that we've got coming up next year. It's fine.
Yeah, the creative process of coming up with them sometimes is non-linear.
No, it's fine. It's fine. All right, I think that we should dig into this one.
Let's dive into this summary.
Yes, indeed. Kind of a long one, I think. So, buckle up.
Well, everybody should grab a suitable snack and a beverage.
Yes. Ooh, and I've just got to share that I've got my Fictional Hangover mug today. I'm drinking a nice spicy chai. Because it's getting chilly outside, friends.
It is. I'm not in. I do have a giant mug of tea, but I was using my Fictional Hangover mug earlier today for coffee.
Good.
So.
Good. You can get your own at Fictional Hangover. noer.redbubble.com.
# always be plugging.
They make excellent Christmas gifts. Or other holidays that you celebrate. And also birthdays. And just random days.
Self-care gifts as well.
Yes.
And I'm sure they've actually got a sale on at the moment because it's Black Friday.
I'm sure they do. Next Friday is actually Black Friday. But
they've started doing Black Friday sales now.
Yes.
In the UK. So.
Yeah. What? Okay, 40 minutes in. Let's start the summary. It's not 40 minutes. It's not that long.
Oh, yikes.
Signal is meeting with her lawyer, Honor, hired by Arush and Sunny Desai and Sky Wiley Stanton. If you will recall from the end of book 2, Sky was most likely trying to kill Signal when Eric hopped up on super soldier medication from camp, medication provided by Eric and Sky's family pharmaceutical company, Kurt Pro, attacks. Before running away and disappearing, Eric and Signal exchange I love yous. Now Signal is trying to convince her lawyer that Sky attacked her. But did he really? Honor convinces Signal to take back what she said about Sky and promises to look into the conservatorship Sky holds over Eric. Signal agrees and apologizes to Sky, even though it makes her want to barf.
And we did.
Mm-hmm.
Signal goes to her room in the Denzai mansion, but hears Sky out in the hallway. Yeah, it's super creepy, but he claims he was returning an earring Jada left back at the pool. They go off together toward the elevators and Signal tries to stop Jada, but then is cornered by Arush. Signal really wants to keep her friend safe, but Arush tries to keep her distracted, though he ultimately fails. He eventually tells her that the flash drive with Janine's confession has been stolen, probably by someone in the house, probably by one of her friends, but definitely not by Sky. This is not good news. What is good news, though, is that today is Signal's 18th birthday and her friends have planned a surprise party. Yay!
Yay!
There is another surprise in store for her, too. Her mom has arrived. Signal introduces her mom to all her friends, and then there's one more surprise. A voice comes from the shadows. Is it Eric? No way.
No, it's not Eric. It's just some guy. Just some guy. And the Desais have him carted away. Sunny insists that Signal's mom stay the night and takes her away, while Signal, Nobody, Jada, Dennis, and Javier go to the in-home theater to watch a movie. Instead of watching, though, Signal tells everyone about the flash drive and Sky, and that Arush thinks one of them stole it, and that it will hurt all their cases against camp. Jada says that Sky gave her his number when they chatted earlier, which gives Dennis an idea. Also, that's disgusting. If Jada gets Sky chatting, Dennis can create a link that will clone Sky's phone because Dennis is a fucking genius. Jada starts texting and heads to her room, and Dennis and Javier go to the gym, leaving Nobody and Signal alone to watch the movie. Nobody passes Signal a note. It's from Eric. But it was given to her by that random dude from earlier.
I totally expected that random dude to be like the singing telegram of like Clue.
Oh my gosh, and then they just shoot her. Telegram.
Yeah. But I always
Slam
expect that when it's a surprise birthday party and somebody knocks at the door, it's always going to be the singing telegram person.
I wish. Lily really missed out on that.
Oh, honestly, missed a trick. Anywho, Eric wants Signal to meet up with him at a campsite, and she convinces her mom to convince the Desais and Signal's lawyer to let them go on a mother-daughter camping trip that is really a let's meet up with Eric trip. Before letting her daughter leave to find Eric, Signal's mom gives her some surprise. A stun gun and some condoms. Jeez. It's so embarrassing, but actually, well done, Signal's mom, because that is the greatest gift you could give an 18-year-old.
Very good. Very good job. But painfully embarrassing.
Painfully embarrassing for a daughter, but from an outsider, bravo.
So good.
Signal follows Eric's clues and finally finds him, but he immediately pushes her into the water. She's confused and, well, freezing, but he knows that Arush likes to hide hidden cameras everywhere and he absolutely cannot be found. He explains and takes Signal to a cute little cabin to warm up.
Wink.
Oh.
At the cabin, Eric tells Signal that he's working with one of the people they met at Arush's party back in Book 2, Nadja, the super gorgeous Russian pop star who definitely has the hots for Eric. And this is her cabin. She wants him in her newest music video, which seems like a horrible idea, but it's also kind of sweet because it's basically Eric and Signal's love story. But you have to replace Signal with a super gorgeous Russian pop star.
Oh no.
They have dinner and discuss how they're going to communicate through email drafts and what they're going to do next, which is track down Kurt. They were held captive together and sent out on missions for camp just like before, except now they're hopped up on super soldier serum. Eric is still struggling with that and controlling his impulses, But when he finds out Signal has a stun gun, the tables turn. they turn so sexily.
Oh no, sexy table's back.
Oh no, the sexy table. Ah!
Oh. That is a callback. Signal thinks Eric is going to be mad about the stun gun and flip out, super soldier style. But instead, he is relieved. They can make out, and if Eric snaps and goes too far, Signal can stun him. That's working sexily well, until Nadia comes bursting in, telling them that there are police everywhere looking for Eric. He breaks a window and takes off while Nadia and Signal drive away in the opposite direction. After Nadia tells Signal she should leave Eric if she ever wants him to be happy, Signal gets pissed, rightfully so, and jumps out the car.
Signal makes her way back to her mom and finds out that her parole officer called, and when she told them that they lost cell contact, they came out looking, probably hoping Signal would lead them to Eric. Jerks. Sons of bitches. But you know what? They got a job to do.
Nah, dog.
Back at the house, Signal chats with Dennis about Sky's hacked cell phone and the 50,000 plus emails that
the anxiety
might have to do with camp or the pharmaceutical company Courtroom. That is a painful amount of emails.
That hit me right in the anxiety.
And the worst part is that's just 50,000 that mention camp or Courtroom. How many other emails does he have?
Imagine how big the junk folder must be.
Oh, it's bad. Signal lets Dennis know that she and Eric are in communication using email drafts, and he wants to jump in too. Eric will know lots of things about his brother. Dennis also needs help hacking Arush's camera systems and gives Signal a Raspberry Pi to covertly hook up while she's in a meeting with him. How's she gonna do that, though?
Sorry, I found that scene really funny. He's like, here's a Raspberry Pi.
Yeah, here you go. And she's like, what is this? It's a computer the size of the palm of your hand.
Well, I'll tell you how she's going to do it. Through the power of vomit.
The power of vomit.
The power of vomit.
It's an amazing power.
Honestly, it's the next Avenger power.
It really is.
Or it's a Mystery Men power, whichever.
Probably that.
Before the meeting gets started, Honor tells Signal that Sky isn't Eric's conservator, that the current director of Camp Naramake is. Which isn't great.
No.
The meeting gets started then, and Signal meets her new PR person, Cassie, and a journalist, Greg, and they all sit down with Honor and Arush and Sunny and make plans of how to get access to the Wiley Stanton algorithm. Signal wants to share that Class A's aren't as terrifying as everyone says. I mean, come on, Signal, some of them are. And that her friends saved her life. But no one wants to go with that angle until Nobody beautifully swims through the pool right behind the meeting room. She swims up to the window and vomits, making a chain reaction of vomiting in the meeting room. Which you can, like, smell through the book.
It's so bad.
It's gross. And you're like, why is there peas and corn? I haven't had peas and corn. There's carrots. Disgusting. Anywho, Signal uses running to a trash can to vomit as a distraction to plug in the Raspberry Pi.
In drafts later, Eric and Dennis figure out a way to sneak Eric into the Desai mansion, and it involves a pretty intense switcheroo with Scraps, the guy that helped them a lot in book 2 and is still helping Eric now with places to stay and jobs that pay under the table, pool cleaners, a personal gym coach, a fake rat tail hairdo, and looping camera videos. But it works because Dennis is a fucking genius. Before Signal can see Eric, Arush tells her that they are going to open Jaws' lockbox the next day. Please see books 1 and 2 for more information on this. And that a high-profile TV personality is going to have her on an interview about it.
Ooh. Later, the Teen Killers Club meets in the theatre to discuss what they're going to do. There's a lot of discussion about Kurt and his dead twin Troy and how Kurt might have been the killer all along in their murderous duel. He's killing seemingly random people now on orders that he accesses through a phone recording instead of speaking to someone directly. The people aren't random though, they're all related to the murders he and his brother were charged with. Javier bursts in the room, being shitty to Signal about Eric and wondering why Eric won't turn himself in, which would be helpful to, like, all of them.
Every single one of them.
Every single person, yeah. They also discuss Eric sneaking into Sky's house to steal back the flash drive and or murder him. Signal doesn't want him to do that because then he will be the killer that Sky thinks he is.
The conversation moves into Eric's conservatorship, which belongs to Camp, not to Sky, unless Camp is shut down. If Sky is out of the picture, though, it would go to next of kin. But Eric says Sky is the only one who doesn't believe Eric killed his parents. Oh yeah, that's because Sky killed them. But Eric didn't know about that until literally just now, because Signal only realized it at the end of book 2. Seriously, please go back and listen to our other Teen Killers episodes for all of these details.
I feel like our background information should have been go back episode 1 and 2.
And listen to those. Javier causes another scene involving forcing a kiss on Signal, which gets security called to her room and making Eric have to leave earlier than planned. God damn it, Javier.
Bloody Javier. The next day, Signal, Arush and the rest of her team go to LA for her interview, but that goes, predictably horribly wrong, because just as they're about to go on, Honor receives a phone call alerting them that Joe's lockbox is empty. Then they turn on the TV to find Janine doing a passionate interview about her innocence and Signal's guilt. None of this is good, and Signal decides she's going back to prison. Greg offers again to chat with her, but she leaves instead, on her way to find Eric, who is also in LA. Greg gives me Coulson vibes all the way through. Like Coulson from Avengers, he's just there. Mainly from Iron Man, going, Hi, I need to have a chat with you.
Yeah, hi.
Mr. Stark, I've got... Yeah.
I'm here to help you.
Massive Coulson vibes.
Yeah, I can see it. Signal and Eric meet up at a hotel construction site in the middle of downtown, and Signal gives Eric some condoms, wanting to get out of her head for a while, and then telling him she's going back to prison. Just as they start to make out, giant LED screens across from the site show a clip from Nadia's latest music video that will be released soon. The clip is Nadia as Signal and Eric in a ski mask, kissing passionately.
Oh.
Some of the video isn't Eric, but like a body double. But the most devastating scenes are definitely Eric. This causes a huge fight because Signal thinks that Eric has something going on with Nadia. He tells her that, she did offer to marry him so he can have Russian citizenship, which makes things worse. Wah wah. He tells Signal he wants to run away with her and that they should do it now, but she won't do that as long as their friends could still go to prison. Looks like this is the end of Signal and Eric.
The violin plays. Signal runs away from the construction site and back to the hotel where Arush and Honor are furious at her for leaving, calling her a flight risk. Sonny is there and, after sending Arush and Honor away, tells Signal that Janine contacted him and to say that she wants to speak to Signal alone. She agrees. Really? When they meet, Janine tells Signal that she will testify in court about Camp, about checking conditions and calling in to see who they would have murdered next. But Signal has to remember that it was Janine's husband, who she conveniently murdered and dissolved in book 2, and then blame the Teen Killers Club for, that they actually killed Rose. Janine will be a murderer walking free. But, so Signal's friends, so...
Signal asks Honor about remembering something from the night Rose was murdered and what it would do for her case, and Honor thinks it would look like a wild grasp. Arush yells at her about pulling that psychopathic crap, and then Sky is there and stops him. Sky then makes comments about going skiing over summers and relating that to Signal being poor and growing up in a trailer park. She goes back to her room, thinking about what Janine said and what Sky said, and pieces some other things together and realizes that the number Kurt called to get his kill list is an old number used to check ski conditions that the old-school teen killers like Janine would have used. She figures out which one and calls it.
Ooh. After listening to several recorded conditions, Signal gets to a part where she can speak to someone and, thinking it's Dave at camp, pleads to him about speaking out against Janine. The next day, in a meeting with her legal team, Dave calls. Signal gives her phone to Honor and she is ecstatic to hear that Dave will speak out about Janine, which will clear everyone's names except for Janine's. It's a great plan.
At the courthouse, though, things go to shit.
Oh, you use the word though. Things never happen when you say though.
I know. Though is not good.
No.
Dave calls, and it sounds like he's in the courtroom somewhere, and he says that he won't be able to testify after all. Wah, wah. Janine slips a message to Signal that suggests she should say it was Jaw who killed Rose instead of her husband, and when Signal is called to the stand, she starts describing the night Rose was killed and is questioned if it was Jaw who did it. He comes in then with the evidence from his lockbox that proves Janine is the murderer. And Eric is right behind him. He proposes to Signal and gets the marriage certificate signed by an official in the courtroom. If this goes through, Signal will now be Eric's conservator, not Sky. Dave then stands up in the crowd, wearing an old man mask, peeling off his face, and offers to testify as the director of Camp Naramake.
Oh,
what?
Drama.
Whoa.
Drama.
Oh.
You don't see this on Court TV, do you? The hearing is postponed and the charges against Signal are dropped. The judge tells Signal he won't sign the marriage certificate unless his current conservator, the director of camp, Dave, signs it first. Signal meets with Dave later at Honor's suggestion because she believes he will speak to her more willingly. Signal asks to print out what she's going to say and heads in with several piles of paperwork. Dave says that he thinks Kurt is still working with someone at Kurt Pro to become the super soldier that Eric was meant to be. Signal gets Dave to sign all her paperwork, claiming that it's a non-disclosure agreement that her lawyers want him to sign, but it's actually the marriage certificate.
Signal rushes out to find Eric, who has just been released into Sky's custody, and provides the paperwork to anyone who will look at it, showing that they are married. Surrounding the courthouse are tons of Signal fans wearing their Fear No Deer shirts. She calls to them for help when Sky tries to take Eric away. The crowd distracts everyone long enough for Signal and Eric to escape. They run off to a hotel where Eric basically tells her that he's probably still gonna leave with Nadja so he can be free. They fight, but they still have to get their paperwork filed with the court, so they make a plan. Eric's phone, the Sky dupe phone, chimes, and there are messages between Sky and his eyes on the inside about where Signal and Eric could be. They run through the list of people living in the house that could be the eyes on the inside and don't really come to any solid conclusions as to who it could be.
Signal and Eric begin to make a plan to get the marriage paperwork signed and filed. Signal says she wants to talk to Alice. Again, please see previous works, about Sky and maybe coming forward against him. Eric doesn't know if he'll be able to do that, but he'll try. She can be a witness to their marriage, and Eric suggests that Signal's mom could also be. But who can they get to marry them? Scraps! Trusty old Scraps! They then decide to talk to Greg, the journalist, about another way to clear Eric's conservatorship. They go to meet Alice, and Greg is there too. Alice at first thinks this is an ambush and talks privately to Eric about trusting Signal and getting their marriage annulled. There are a lot of conversations about the Wiley Stanton and how it's being used incorrectly, and Eric's childhood, and Sky being a monster, and Eric marrying Nadia, and Eric testifying on behalf of them all at camp. Everything ends up with Alice driving Signal to meet with Eric and Scraps to get married.
The ceremony is lovely, and it's at the Opera House. Nobody's girlfriend/ex-girlfriend, because nobody thinks she's going back to death row, Amy, the beautiful ballerina, has a dress for Signal. Nobody and Jada and Dennis are there, as well as Signal's mom. Before the ceremony can start, Signal gets a call from Greg, hoping for good news about his Wiley Stanton story, but gets the exact opposite. His editor was fired, and no one else will publish his work. Great. Signal and Eric get married, and Scraps is going to immediately take the paperwork to be filed, but Eric makes Signal promise she won't go anywhere alone when they get back to the Desai mansion until after he can testify. Signal and Nobody and Jada plan to find something to watch while they wait for all the courtroom stuff, but they find an interview with Janine and the high-profile woman who is supposed to interview Signal instead. Signal gets sick and leaves to go to the bathroom. Alone.
Unfortunately, Kurt follows her in. He says that he's still receiving targets to kill and that the last girl was his twin brother's girlfriend, who swore that Troy was not a Class A. Whoever is behind this desperately wants to keep the algorithm safe and protected and keep people afraid of Class A's. Kurt says that he'll be classified as something other than a Class A after everything is over, and then Signal bashes in his knee. He slices her arm and she runs, screaming that Kurt is there, and then Javier appears and helps her. He tells her she should tear up the marriage certificate and show Kurt, and he would leave her alone. But then Eric arrives.
Eric takes Signal away from Javier, and they go searching in everyone's rooms to find out who Eyes on the Inside is. They search their friends' rooms and talk about how Janine made that offer with Signal to tell the truth about camp and how that doesn't make any sense. They find girly magazines in Nobody's room, a fancy knife box in Dennis's, and perfume that Sky gave to her in Jada's room. Eric recognizes it and knows that Sky gave some to Alice before. Then Signal mentions that it smells like honor, too. Eric suddenly knows who Eyes is and that they want him to finish the super soldier injections that they were giving him before because he is the only one they will work on, unfortunately for Kurt. He knows this is what he has to do to stop everything, and then makes Signal leave the mansion where she is taken away by security to her mom's place nearby.
Signal wants to help Eric, but her mom tells her that he told her that if Signal got hurt again because of him, he would leave. Signal doesn't believe that Eric would disappear and wants to leave to help him. Unfortunately, Signal gets a call from Scraps that someone in a fancy car crashed into him and stole the marriage certificate. Who could that have been? Signal's mom makes her promise to be back in time for their live-streamed high school graduation ceremony that will be taking place that evening, and she agrees.
At grad night, Arush meets Signal and tells her that because of Eric's deposition, the Wiley Stanton algorithm will no longer be used and will not impact her friends' cases, and that Honor thinks they can plead to lesser sentences after all the trauma they've been through because of the algorithm. What great news! Signal can't help but be suspicious of everyone and everything happening around her, but then she decides to tell them the truth, obviously without the fact that they suspect that one of them is Eyes on the Inside. They make a plan to go to Sky's house where she believes Eric to be and stop him from completing the super soldier testing and or rescue him if it's gone too far. Dennis gives Jada a gift before they leave, the fancy knife that was in his room, and everyone swoons because they've kind of been flirting a lot in the background the entire time.
Perfect.
Yay,
gift giver.
Dennis.
Perfect gift giver.
So good. It looks like a lipstick, but it's a knife. It's amazing.
Jada plans to convince Sky to invite her over, which he does disgustingly easily, and keep him distracted while Signal looks for Eric. Nobody will be the getaway driver. Javier will also help, but reluctantly, and Dennis has to stay behind because he was supposed to work with Arush. Sky gives Jada more perfume as they sit on a fur rug in front of a roaring fireplace, and Signal sneaks around until she finds Eric with all sorts of tubes and wires attached to him. She sends pictures of medications and information to Dennis, who tells her Eric is in a medical coma. They try to research if they can unhook him from everything, and yes, they can, but Eric will likely be unable to move on his own for a long time. Signal undoes everything except his oxygen and goes back downstairs.
Signal sees Sky trying to get out the back door for more firewood, but he finds the doors are chained shut. He knows they're all up to something and heads to Jada, who is drugged from the perfume he gave her.
Jerk.
Signal tries to attack him, but he tases her and she goes down. Then Kurt appears behind Sky and slashes his throat. He has continued following orders from camp and Kurt Pro since they are one and the same now, and his latest order was to kill Sky because he has control of the algorithm and they want to use it on everyone and then control everyone with the drugs that they're making. Kurt wanted the cure, but there isn't one, and there definitely won't be one now that Sky's dead.
Womp, womp. Nobody arrives to help, but Kurt tries to set her and the house on fire. Signal manages to get up and get Jada's knife and comes at Kurt, but he knows she won't be able to kill him because she's not a Class A. Well, maybe she can't kill him, but she does stab him directly in the eyeball and pull it out, which, wow. She tries to break the window, but it's shatterproof. On the other side, though, she sees Arush and tells him to open the doors so they can get out.
Kurt comes at Signal then, eyeballless. But then Sky, still alive somehow, slashes his ankle with a straight razor.
Ooh.
They start fighting, but then Sky tells Signal to get Eric out because his oxygen tank will explode. She, Jada, and Nobody go upstairs and get Eric and his tank. Arush was unable to get the doors unchained, and so they use the oxygen tank to explode them. They all get outside and then see Sky and Kurt in a flaming waltz tumble out of the house and into the ocean. They also see Javier's body in the water, but they manage to pull him out and resuscitate him, so he's fine. Soon, Sonny arrives and pulls Signal aside.
Sonny tells Signal that he's upset he wasn't invited to the wedding and that he will pay for a proper marriage and reception if Signal will sign Eric over to him and Kurt Pro. Turns out he owns a third of the company, and Eric and Signal, once actually married, will own another bit. Signal just needs to give Eric up and let them continue testing on him to find the cure for being Class A, or at least what passes as a cure for everyone who doesn't actually know that all Class A's aren't terrible but instead feather. If she'll just let them turn off parts of his brain until he's programmed the way she wants him to be, they'll get to live happily ever after. Let me think. Nah, dog.
Nah, dog.
No.
Nah.
Dog. No.
Arush has been listening in and knows his father is the villain.
No.
So he tosses Signal his car keys, and she and a passed out Eric in the passenger seat drive off. Signal calls the only person she can think of who can get Eric to safety, even though she desperately doesn't want to. Nadja answers and tells her to come to her house, where she has a helicopter waiting on the roof, because of course she does. They make it there and rush inside, helped by the Eric body double from the music video. Signal kisses Eric goodbye, but hopefully only for a little while, and then the helicopter flies away. Unfortunately, Sunny has sent drones after the helicopter, and it violently crashes and explodes. Well, shit.
Ooh.
Horrible ending.
But we do like a nice dramatic helicopter death.
It's amazing.
I'm feeling a little torn about that scene. Anywho, Signal wakes up in the hospital and finds all her friends around her crying. Arush comes in and apologises for everything his father did, but congratulates Signal on her case being dropped after he shared Janine's confession video that was on the flash drive his father stole. She has earned $12 million in a settlement and decides to use it to create a new camp where Naramoke was, but that is actually going to help classes and not turn them into, like, killing machines.
Oh.
Yeah. Her friends' sentences were also lessened quite a bit, and they will get to work at the new camp as part of community service. They drive out there to start planning things, and then Signal reveals a surprise. Is it cake?
Yes, I hope so.
Oh, yeah.
Eric didn't get on the helicopter that violently crashed and exploded. Thank goodness. And he's alive. Here. Right now.
Bursting out of a cake.
Yes. They bought a cabin kit from the internet and will live on the outskirts of camp in secret. Eric knows he can take down the wily Stanton, which is still a thing, unfortunately, and he and Signal and all their friends can live happily ever after. Dancing sexily in a cake.
Oh, dear me.
Please enjoy this promo from another show, friends.
While we laugh.
While we imagine Eric dancing sexily in a cake. Luckily not exploded.
These days, more authors are including mental health content in their books. But do you ever wonder how accurate some of this stuff is?
Or do you ever read something where you know the author just gets it?
I'm Elise.
And I'm Priscilla.
And we are Novel Feelings, a podcast where we discuss mental health issues in fiction novels.
We are psychologists and book lovers, and we have a lot of opinions.
So look for Novel Feelings wherever you get your podcasts.
Now, back to your show.
Our conversations often take a strange turn.
They really do. They really, really do. But, you know, I think it's part of our charm. Yes.
Charm. Yes.
So much charm.
Anywho. Sorry, I'm still chuckling it over.
I don't even know.
Oh, I don't know why. Anyway, right, let's talk about this. Let's talk. Let's
chat about this book. Indeed. Oh, I'm out of chai now, so I can't spill
I'm
any.
out of tea as well. It's wasteful anyways.
Yeah, don't spill it.
No.
Okay. I really, really, really love this trilogy. Everything about it. I love it so much.
It's so cinematic.
It really is. You can tell that Lily's job outside of writing is like in television production.
Oh, definitely.
Writing TV shows and whatnot.
She's got the eye for it. She definitely has the eye for it.
She's so good. She's so good. I love it so much. And that's very interesting, I think, because, I mean, it's not very realistic, if we're being truthful, but it's realistic fiction. It's like contemporary. There are not monsters.
No.
Unless, I mean, they're human monsters made with super soldier serum, but like...
The real monsters are the humans we meet along the way.
That's true. But like, there's cute relationships, and there's also, you know, straight up murder, and this one also included violent explosions of pop stars and flaming waltzes, flaming death waltzes. Like, so many good things. I feel like Teen Killers Club and The Girl Who Can Move Shit with Her Mind, like, might take place in the same universe.
Oh, I could see that, definitely. Definitely.
Yeah.
100%. I could see that.
Yeah.
Yeah. The level of drama in Teen Killers at Large, like, Lily turned it up to 11.
She did.
Like, you know, we have violent helicopter deaths.
Yes.
We have courtroom drama.
Yes. Surprise marriages.
Surprise marriages. We don't have the giant cake, which is upsetting now I think about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, just, you know, reveals, identity reveals, and
yes,
lots of cliffhanger moments. And
yes.
It, like, I mean, the first two are obviously dramatic, because go and listen to them, people. Go.
Yes, please do. Please do.
They're obviously very dramatic, but this one, honestly, it just notches it up. It really does.
It really does.
It does. It doesn't just go up one. It goes up to the full 11. She takes it to 11. And even the quieter moments, there's always, like, not just drama, but there's tension, and there's...
Yeah.
I will say, and I said this to Lily, I struggled with Signal in this one, though.
I think, honestly, everyone struggles with Signal all the time in every single book. But it's done in such a way that, like, you're meant to want to shake her. One of the things that I didn't like about this book, and it's not that I don't, like, enjoy that, like, I love the book and I love everything that happens, and everything happens for a reason. But one of the things that bothered me so much in this one was that Signal got so upset at Eric for doing the music video with Nadja, but that was literally a job.
Yeah. And
just because Nadja has the hots for Eric, or had the hots for Eric in book 2, like, she's a Russian pop star. She's probably going to have the hots for everyone all the time, constantly, because, because she's a pop star and she can get anything she wants. She has a fucking helicopter on the top of her house and a cabin in the middle of the woods. Like, Nadja can get anything that she wants, and it's clear that she wants Eric, but that's not Eric. Eric is not that guy.
No, not at all. Eric is... He constantly... I think that's probably the thing that annoyed me about Signal, actually. And you're right. Like, she does not trust Eric.
Mm-mm.
And you can't have a relationship without trust.
Right.
And Eric constantly tells Signal, you're my person.
Yep.
You're the only person I can be myself with. You're the only person who isn't trying to turn me into something else or force me to be something else. You want me to be me, and you make me happy. But, like, is Signal literally just sitting there going, la 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 la, I can't hear you. Is it just the fact that she just turns 18 in this book? Is it her immaturity, you know?
Probably.
You know, her frontal lobe is still developing. And, you know, she's gone through a lot of trauma. So I can imagine her mental health is not great.
Right,
but if there was ever a bunch of people that needed to get a therapist, it's the Teen Killers
But
Club.
you know what? They have that now at new camp, at
new camp.
Rose Rowan Memorial Class A camp for winners.
You can do it.
Yeah. Why did she name the camp after Rose? Rose was a shitty fucking person.
I got confused by that as well.
Everybody go back and listen to our episodes about books 1 and 2 to just hear, like, Rose was a manipulative bitch, and her mother was a literal Class A murderer. So you think that Rose probably was a Class A too.
Well, considering what Rose was doing, I just don't get it. Unless it's irony and not... I don't know. I don't know.
But like...
Or it might be the way to get additional... I mean, I know she's got $12 million, but that's only going to stretch so far.
She's just doing it for show.
Yeah, like it's to get the grants that you need.
Yeah.
You know, you need it to make it into a charity to be able to get those tax loopholes as well. I mean, she's got $12 million, but I'm sorry, that's not going to last in this economy.
Right.
That is not going to last when you're trying to run a business.
But also...
And you have employees and it's a non-profit.
But also, Dennis is in charge of the money. And Dennis, as has been said more than once in this episode, is a fucking genius.
Oh, there's many more zeros are being added onto that. The decimal point just keeps moving along.
Yes.
Yeah. Can Dennis control my bank account in the positive way? Because damn, it needs it.
Wish. Speaking of Dennis,
the glow.
Dennis, yes, getting swole. Working out every day.
Wow. Do you remember when the How to Train Your Dragon movies came out, the original ones? And I'm relating it to this just simply because it's the live actions coming out now and the pictures of hitting the internet. But everybody's like, oh, look at Hiccup, he's just such a little kid. And then the second one, he grows up a little bit. And then the third one, everybody's going, dang, Hiccup's had a glow up. And it's like, I feel like Dennis has gone through the Hiccup transition stage. He's this little wiener nerd, and then he's less of a wiener nerd, and now he's a swole nerd.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, I love Dennis. And I love
Dennis is my favourite character, by the way. Just going to jump ahead that tiniest little bit and say Dennis is my favourite. I love Dennis. I mean, I always love Eric. But Dennis, Dennis was like the star of the show this time. And complete MVP. This
is something that we talk about a little bit if you scoot on over to the bonus episode with Lily. Like, she mentions how she had to basically put Eric in a coma so he wouldn't be the hero of this book. And like, yeah, it's true. It had to happen, but because Eric would have done something amazing if he wasn't in a medical coma to save the day. But Dennis...
that sounds so extreme, doesn't it?
It does. But Dennis really... Dennis was great. Dennis has always been great since book one, but Dennis was really great in this one. And I really love that he's had a crush on Jada. And you kind of like... Signal's trying to push Jada and Javier together, and Signal's like, no, I mean, nobody's like, no, don't do that, please, that's awful. But then, like, Dennis buys Jada a lipstick knife, and, like, that's just perfect, and they're just so precious. I love them.
Yes. I like Dennis and Jada as a couple more than I like Signal and Eric.
No, I love Eric.
That's my hill, and that is my hill. I'm standing on it.
That's fine.
And I've got a lipstick knife to defend it with.
That's fine. I just love Eric.
That's fine. You can love Eric. That's fine.
Do you know what else I loved about this book?
Flaming helicopter deaths.
Flaming helicopter death, yes. Also, Sky's flaming death waltz. But neither one of those things is what I was going to say. And I'm going back to Dennis a little bit here with the rat tail switcheroo that he planned and executed behind the scenes. That was so ridiculous. Everything that happened in that scene, which it was in so much more detail than what we provided in the summary. It was hilarious. Lots of terrible things happened. But that was so good.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah. I really appreciated finding out Derek? Who's Derek?
Who's Derek?
I really appreciate finding out Dennis's story. We finally get that as well.
Yeah.
And it's really heart-wrenching and ill-deserved.
Yeah.
So it's nice that he gets the happy ending.
It is nice. And you know what? Fuck his original family. He's got his found family now, and that's all he needs.
Completely.
And now he has $12 million to turn into $12 billion.
It's already been done.
It's already done. Yeah.
How do you think they afforded the giant cake for Eric to jump out of?
I know. Dennis did it. I think Dennis is the mastermind of everything all the time.
Scary intelligent.
Yeah.
I liked as well when Signal just went up to him and had the hug, and she's like, "You're my brother. You're my brother." And I was like, "Yeah. Exactly what you said. Sometimes you got to tell your gene pool to fuck off."
Yep. And you got your found family, and that's the family that you need.
Exactly. Is there anything else that you really enjoyed? I've got something I want to discuss with you, and I'd like your opinion of.
Sure.
But it might. I don't want to bring the tone down.
Okay. Well, I just feel like we should mention again how much we appreciate Nadia violently exploding at the end. And this again is also mentioned in the bonus episode. But I just wonder, like, she's a pop star and she literally explodes in the background. What is everyone going to do now that she is not there?
Not go to our concerts?
Yeah, but like, you know how people feel. You know how people feel about their pop stars. So you know that there are going to be sobbing tween girls everywhere.
Yeah, but that'll only last for about a year, and then everybody move on to somebody else.
That's true. That is true. But I just appreciate that she is this huge pop star, and she's just having this video release, and it's like got a countdown and a release date, and all of this fantastic stuff is happening, and exploded in a helicopter.
Wah, wah.
Oh, I think that's one of my favorite things that has ever happened in a book. That's the good thing about
Lily. She's not afraid to kill off a character.
No, she's not afraid to explode a helicopter.
She's not afraid to explode a helicopter, kill off a character, have vomit absolutely freaking everywhere, which was both disgusting and hilarious.
Horribly fantastic scene.
I like it when authors basically are trying to kill / mentally scar their characters by putting them through the ringer, because it's not that they don't care or they're not precious to them. They're just realistic about creating a good story.
Yes. So good. Okay. What do you have to say that will bring the tone down?
And I'm not trying to say this in any negative way. You can love something, but you can see flaws.
Right.
And I think that's a healthy way.
Yeah.
I think to think something is 100% perfection and flawless, a little dodgy.
Yeah.
So I'm not trying to bring the tone down with it, but I'm kind of I want your opinion on Jesse Valinsky's narration. We love Jesse here. We love it.
Okay. I don't know if I can answer this question right now. I don't know if I can tell you what I think about it, because every book that I have listened to in the past month, she has narrated.
Oh my God. She's just living in your ears.
She lives in my head.
She's your earworm.
Lost in the Moment and Found. She narrated that. I also listened to Clown in a Cornfield 3. I listened to this one, and I listened to the next Wayward Children, and she also does that one. It's like every single thing I've listened to, she's narrated, and everybody's voices are really good, but they're all the same.
Now, okay, you've said something there that I'm going to pick up on.
Okay.
I've listened to 3 Jesse Valinskys. I haven't listened to Clown in the Cornfield 3. So I'm not too far off myself. But you did just say that all the voices are the same. And we know that Jessie Valinsky is a talented narrator.
Yes, I
But
think
I struggled with this one because I felt some of the voices weren't necessarily too different from each other. Like, Signals still I always think Signal sounds whiny.
well, she is. She's
But I'm not a
she's
biggest
very
fan.
whiny.
Exactly. So I can understand Signal's voice is very whiny. But I struggled to differentiate a little bit between some of the other characters.
Yeah.
And having those accents and having those different tones and intonations really helps bring the story A to life and B understandable in terms of the different characters when you're listening to it as an audiobook. I don't have the opportunity all the time to always sit down and read the book. Mm-hmm. I need the audiobook, and I enjoy the audio. I love audiobooks. It helps it's mentally good for me to have an audiobook. But I did struggle with this one because I'm going to say the word samey, and again, I don't want to be negative. It just wasn't the top-notch performance that I have come to expect.
Yeah, I think Dennis has a very distinct voice. Eric has a very distinct voice. Nobody has a very distinct voice. Everyone else was just kind of very similar. It was just like her regular narration voice, which is she does a great job. But I think this time there were so many characters, and a lot of the times they were in the same room and they were all talking.
Yeah.
And that's hard.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I can get it, but you're right, a lot of it did kind of blend together. And I think it is I almost want to say if we listened to this one without having listened to the Wayward Children books, and for me, then the Third Clown in a Cornfield book, like, it might not have bothered me so much.
Potentially.
But I think, like, and we'll talk more about this next week when we do Mislaid in Parts Half Known, the next Wayward Children book that Jessie also narrates. Like, I was listening to it and I was like, oh, that's Dennis. Wait, no, that's not Dennis. That's a different character. Oh, is that Eric? No, that's not Eric. That's a different character. Like, she has really good voices, but they're the same across her books. So if you're listening to every single thing that Jessie Valinsky has narrated in the past 3 years back to back to back to back, it gets a little overwhelming.
Again, in my defense, I've had breaks between, and I've listened to like, podcasts and stuff. You haven't, so I can understand the overlay of it all sounding the same. So we're coming from quite different positions. We're having quite similar experience. So I because obviously I haven't got Clown in there to take up X amount of hours, you know, I've got the book club read, which the title's completely gone out of my head. Then I had a break. Then I listened to Teen Killers at Large, and I am currently listening to the next book club one. Like literally, I've got 10% left to listen to. It'll be done after we've finished recording because dang, I need to finish it. But I've only just started doing Mislaid and Parts Half Known. I started it yesterday, and I'm finishing it today. So I've had those breaks in between where I've listened to music or I've listened to a podcast episode of something else. So the narration in my ears, it's not the earworm that you've got and you're suffering from. So I think we're coming to very similar conclusions, but from different points. But it's still a valid comment. Jessie's really good at young voices.
She is.
Like, she really kicks ass at doing YA.
Yeah.
Because she can do both male and females in that right teenage sound.
And also little kids.
Yes, oh God, she's brilliant at little kids. But where it's come for me with this one, in particular, because they are there, are the adults. the adults have sounded very much like the teens.
Yes.
And that's where I think some of the struggle for me has been. The adults have sounded like
they're all in the same room talking at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm going to just lay it out there that it wasn't the best. It was still good. It was still good. But it wasn't the best for me.
Yeah. Well, I would like to say that we are pretty goddamn knowledgeable about audiobooks and like listening to things and understanding the way things work as, like in the production side of it. So I don't think that what we're saying should be taken negatively about Jessie. It's just we pay more attention to things, I think, than a lot of other people do.
Yeah, and if I was just listening to a book for the just listening for my own personal pleasure, I do listen to it differently than when I do it for Fictional Hangover.
Yeah,
I will skip back and go back over things and re-listen and just check things.
Yeah.
And if something bugs me on a narration, I will listen to it half a dozen times and go, oh, I need to talk about that with Amanda.
Right.
And if I've noticed something, it's guaranteed that you've noticed something.
Right.
Your ear is really sharp when it comes to that narration. So,
I think we're just I think we're just hyper focused on some things sometimes.
Yeah, and I think it's to do with it's a service that we want to do.
Yes.
To be able to properly talk about.
Yeah.
A book.
Yeah. And we know what we're talking about. But anyway, yeah.
Let's move on.
Let's move on to favorite final thought quote.
We haven't done surprises.
We haven't done surprises. Let's back up and talk about surprises. I did mention one of my things, and it was that Signal got so worked up over the Nadia stuff. That really grated on me.
I'll be like, when did you have time to do this, Eric? When did you do this?
Yeah.
Where did you do this?
Yeah. But I also think I was a little bit surprised that Sunny was the bad guy. I was kind of expecting it to be Arush because Arush was treating Signal like literal garbage the entire book.
Another one who needed a slap or a helicopter death.
Yes.
Yeah.
But then he ended up helping at the end and it was fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was a little bit surprised about Sunny being the ultimate big bad guy to take control of the Wiley Stanton and make millions and millions of dollars.
Capitalism is the ultimate bad guy.
Capitalism is the ultimate bad guy. You're correct.
So my surprise is linked to what you're saying, and it's actually that the Wiley Stanton is still a thing at the end. I was fully expecting it to be taken
to be discredited,
completely discredited, thrown in the garbage.
Yeah,
lawsuits everywhere.
But you know what? I mean, it's a moneymaker. People are using it. People are afraid. And if you can take a test that says that you are or will be a murderer, maybe.
Is that a good idea, though?
Maybe they're going to depend on it. I don't think so. I don't know.
Feel like it's because I mean, if you think about a lot of people never think they're going to be a murderer, but then they get attacked and it's in self-defense, or it's again it's abuse and it's defense against your abuser, or crimes of passion happen where you can't tell that that's going to be. You don't wake up in the morning and go, I'm going to commit some murder today.
I'm going to do a murder.
You are a serial killer.
Yeah.
And what I need to know is, does this algorithm ask, have you had head trauma? Did you wet the bed? What was your relationship with your parents like?
Yes. Were you adopted? Isn't it a thing that like serial killers are all adopted?
No, there's not that many, to be fair. Son of Sam. Bundy had an issue that his mother was... He thought his grandparents were his parents, but it wasn't. It was his quote-unquote sister.
Yeah. Also, though, we need to take into consideration the Wiley Stanton, like, goes through your internet history, and like it can determine like the things that you have read and what you enjoy. And
we're serial killers. We're class A's.
We are class A's.
100% we are class A's.
100% we're class A's.
But the problem with that is if you use a communal computer,
yeah,
there's too many, I don't know, too many holes.
Yeah. Anyway. Okay, now?
Still should have been discredited.
It should have been. It should have been discredited. It should have been discredited for sure. Okay. Now favorite final thought quote?
Yes.
Okay. What you got?
3. I've got 3. I'll give you 3.
Okay.
Let's not let our paranoia get the best of us.
Yeah.
But I also say at the same time, yes, let the paranoia get the best of you, because then you are prepared.
Yes. Sure.
And especially in these books, the bad guy is out to get you.
Yes.
I like the randomness of the next one. I'm not here for the glass avocado.
I love the glass avocado.
Get over the glass avocado.
Such a good comment. The glass avocado. It's such a good scene. It was so weird. I loved it so much.
I kept thinking, I don't like avocados, the entire thing.
No. Oh.
Anywho. And I'll give you this last one. I know that behind those haunting eyes lurks the heart of an absolute dweeb.
Oh, so good. Oh, I love Eric.
Okay, what's yours?
Okay. He sounds very nice, but still not my type. Which is bad boys, obviously. If that's not us, I don't know who is us. You think the good guys always win, Signal, because no one tells the bad guy's side of the story. I am the bad guy. My only way out alive is leaving the story completely. Oh, Eric! And then this one. I don't know why I love this one so much, except, I mean, I do. It's very sweet. It's very heart-wrenching. It's beautiful. And it happens in one way or another in each of the books. And that just, it just ties it all together, and it's very, very nice. However, please see the bonus episode, because there's a lot of discussion about this, and it is absolutely ruined by the Merciless King of More High episode that we had with Lily. But it's such a good quote. I want the seat next to you, anywhere you go, to always be mine. And I just can't help but think about sitting on the bus with the dirty coo and the life straw. It was a bad conversation that we had, and it ruined this quote for me. But
the dirty coo,
the dirty
life
coo
straw is going to infect so much. It's sticking around like
so
dirty
funny.
water.
Oh, so
it might go down as one of the funniest moments.
I think that is true. We were, the
entire
it was so good.
Bonkers.
Yeah.
Anywho.
Okay. Let's move on to Would You Rather.
But it's a bit different.
It is. It is a bit
We've already
different.
recorded it. So it's kind of pew, pew. So we have already recorded all of the Would You Rather. Amanda, insert the Would You Rather after this.
I will.
Thank you. But we posted on social media. We couldn't ignore so many stellar comments.
Yes.
So the question we asked on social media was, uh-oh, you're on the run! Ah! Would you rather escape the authorities by marrying a stranger and moving to another country, or by living off the grid in a cabin in the middle of the woods? And living in the cabin in the middle of the woods won on both Facebook and Instagram. On Facebook was 77% and on Instagram was 78%. So I'm kind of like, I'm liking that.
Yeah.
I'm liking that.
Yeah.
I'm
So we have
gonna
some
go through-
comments?
We do. Let's do the comments. It's so lovely for people to comment on our social media posts that it would be a disservice of us not to go back
You're
to
right.
discuss them.
You're right.
So Colin on Facebook said, now, the moving to another country part isn't an issue. There are some beautiful and wonderful countries out there that I would love to see, but marrying a stranger? Yuck. There could be some sort of Trumpian or similar. At least get to know the suitor before jumping into bed with him. Off the grid is attractive. Get back to basics. Don't worry about the world at large. I could chop wood in a manly fashion and wear plaid at every opportunity. I mean, there's always a chance of surprise bears. And, I don't know, do crocodiles live in the forest? I've got a feeling they do. Let me research. To which he comes back in a different post to say, okay, I've done a Google, and apparently no, crocodiles don't live in forests.
No, they don't.
This confuses me because I'm sure I'm sure I saw a crocodile in Sherwood Forest one time, unless it was an alligator. I do get them confused sometimes. Anyway, where was I? Bears? No, we were past that. All right, yeah. I'm living off the grid. Bye.
That's my favorite part. Oh, yeah, right. I'm living off the grid. Bye. Bye. Katrina on Facebook says, while I would miss internet and convenience by moving off the grid, I don't think I could marry a stranger. So cabin in the woods it is.
Constance on Facebook said, hey, in most scenarios where you marry a stranger and move to another country, the guy is either a prince or a millionaire or a down-to-earth farm boy with a cute ranch. So no thank you to no internet and peeing in the woods. Why is everybody automatically assuming because you're living off the grids, you're peeing in the woods and you've got no internet?
I don't know.
You're off the grid,
Yeah.
but you have ways of you've got a Dennis.
Yeah, definitely. Coral on Facebook says, I think I could marry a stranger to get out of the country. And once out of the country and safe, if I didn't like the person, that person could just disappear. Or I could.
That's an admission to being part of the Teen Killer Club, if you ask me.
I really appreciate the fact that disappear was capitalized. Like, what does that mean? Coral?
Disappear.
Coral? Are you murdering people?
I almost saw the wink, the disappear.
I like it.
Emily on Facebook said, it's a million times no to marrying a stranger. Plus, I know at least one place to live off the grid, thanks to my husband. And she doesn't put it there, so we can't find her.
Damn it. Yahira on Facebook says, marrying a stranger as long as we have an understanding of what the marriage is going in. Who knows? Might make an unlikely companionship.
It's a very sensible answer.
It is.
And finally, at Brie Tart on Instagram said, see, I'm not an off-the-grid person. Camping for a weekend is one thing, but I'm not a full-time survivalist. I'll marry a stranger, move to the UK, then escape to stay with friends who would help me bury a body. You know who you are. Yes, Brie, they do know who they are.
Oh.
If you want our responses, here they are.
I know my answer.
What's your answer? Are you marrying
Cabin
Nadja?
in the woods.
Oh, okay, good.
Cabin in
I
the
was worried.
woods.
I was worried that
I
you were going to
mean-
marry Nadja.
You don't have to chase after me with the grim specter of the law to get me to live in the woods. I love a cabin in the woods situation. I'll just go there for funsies.
I mean, that's basically where I live right now. So I might as well just stay. And I don't have to learn another language. Or
What
marry a
is-
stranger.
Joe, what's the toilet situation like in the cabin in the woods, though?
Functioning toilet.
Functioning toilet, I'm there then. I'm there. I'm assuming I have a library with a rolling ladder, and I'm just going to be living my best recluse
Sure.
life.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Or it,
Can I get food delivery out there far?
I mean, if let's just pretend that it's my house because my house is in the middle of the woods and it's I mean, it's pretty great. There's a nice library behind me. Yeah, there are some places that will deliver food.
Right, I'm fine. So middle of the woods.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes,
So
I lived in Big Bear when I was writing this book. I lived there for like 3 continuous years. It's a very it's like kind of vacation town, so it's tiny, tiny, tiny during the week, and then very big on the weekends. And there were still, I think, like maybe 3 places that delivered food, and one of them was great, and two of them not so great. And that's okay.
yeah, yeah. You can get some things delivered here, and it's worth it, I think.
As long as my weekly shop gets delivered, I'm really not that bothered because I just freaking hate supermarkets. My time is not worth going to a supermarket. I would rather, online shop, have it delivered at a suitable time for me, and then I'm in my pajamas all the time. Life is good.
I think this is how our sitcom begins.
Yes. It starts with the food
cabin in the
delivery.
woods.
Yes.
And me going, no, that's a stupid substitution. Who substitutes garlic with ginger? That's silly.
No,
Stop doing that.
No, that's a bad idea.
That's my first world problem.
It's a guy pulling up in like a Forerunner in this really removed cabin, and he's just got all these bags of like wine gums and hobnobs. He's like, I hear about these new ladies moving in.
It's amazing.
Like,
And cheese. There's a nice cheese selection.
There's got to be cheese. There's got to be cheese
cheese
involved. Yes.
Yeah.
I like that we just skipped straight into the grocery delivery and not the fact that we have all run away from the authorities and are living secretly in this cabin.
Grocery delivery guys don't give a shit if you're living off grid because you've been chased by the authorities. They just want to make sure that they're delivered and they're gone.
Right, but
a
I'm
lot
talking
of fugitives in food delivery. It's a very
there
popular
are,
field.
yes. But really, I'm talking about our sitcom. Like, I feel like there's more interest in the running away from the authorities than the grocery delivery.
That could be an overarching. So in the sitcom, it'll always go back to like the FBI kind of like unit in the room, and it's like a Mulder and Scully kind of duo or something. And they're very comedic, it's slapstick.
Of course.
And they're like, oh, so we've heard that they're living in a cabin in the middle of the woods. And then it cuts to us and we're living in a cabin in the middle of the woods. But they're going to like, Canada or somewhere. I don't know. We'll pick a different place.
Yeah.
And they're just constantly going to the wrong place, constantly. Or then we're going out of one door as they're going in, and we just miss each other constantly because they're so derpy.
Yes. And they finally find us because they've tracked our food delivery person. And they're like, this grocery order has very British things in it and a lot of cheese. Here they are.
Orders PG tips at such a high markup.
There they are. We found them. And then it ends in a sting operation.
Why did my Tyrese chocolate orange at Christmas let us down? I'm so sorry, guys. I'm so sorry.
God, it's all your fault. You're the only reason why we got caught.
But we really like Tyrese chocolate orange. Oh, Quality Streets. Nice tub of Quality Streets. Can't beat a tub of Quality Streets.
Golden syrup.
You better believe it. And you're having Coleman's mustard on your burgers and your hot dogs. None of this American malarkey that tastes of nothing.
There are so many recipes I want to try where they're like, in the first ingredient, golden syrup, and I'm like, I don't know where to get. I just have to.
I will
order,
send you golden
jug.
syrup. I will send you golden syrup. I have plenty in the house, and I know where it is in the supermarket. I could get it delivered right now.
I think you should. It would be amazing.
What a flex.
I feel like going downstairs and actually getting the golden syrup and just like
enjoying it.
Yes.
Oh.
Message the hubby. Please bring me the golden syrup.
Oh no. Oh. Okay. That's the end of that question.
You're going to call it the end to the would you rather.
That's the end. That's the end. Now it's time to start script writing.
All right.
Okay. Question 2. Would you rather be a part of the Teen Killers Club with Dave, Janine, Dog Mask, those guys, or with Jada, Nobody, Dennis, and their crew?
I need to give Dennis a hug.
I love Dennis.
He needs a hug.
I love Dennis so much.
So is this imagining like a prequel world where Dave,
Yes.
Janine, and Dog Mask were all campers, like in the
Yes.
90s?
Yeah. Yeah.
I've got the better music back then, though.
Yeah. And it's a great excuse to have more in this universe. She says,
Hint.
pointed
Hint.
look.
Manifest.
Like I do like Jada, Nobody, and Dennis, obviously. If I could be in a virtual reality simulation where I got to meet my own characters and hang out with them, I think that would be very cool. I also feel like Janine was probably a lot. Janine was probably a lot when she was in the Teen Killers Club. She might have actually made it a bad time.
Yeah.
I imagine her in the plastic, like Mean Girl style plastic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's very smile in your face, literally stab you in the back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally bite your Achilles tendon out.
I wouldn't mind a Teen Killers Club mixed with Mean Girls. That'd be quite fun.
Would be amazing. I got worried when
Ooh.
you said you'd be in a virtual reality simulation with Dennis because I'm pretty sure Dennis would take over your body.
He'd be
I
running
think
the
he'll
whole
be with
thing.
consent,
He
though,
would.
actually. You do it with consent.
Yeah.
I mean, he gets a real glow up in Teen Killers at large. You know, he gets those gains, he gets his girl. Tried to really give him a happy ending.
Ugh. If anybody
I'm
deserves
so
a happy
glad.
ending, it's Dennis.
Yes.
Yes, that's
He's
true.
precious. He's the cinnamon. Can we have a cinnamon roll in this universe?
A
Oh,
murder.
they're all cinnamon rolls.
They are. And like he didn't actually murder anybody.
No. He was much as a victim as anybody.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He's just smarter than everybody at all times.
Yeah, he just needs to work on his social stuff, and he does. He does.
He does.
Yeah, but he pulls in the end, so he's fine.
Yeah.
He does he? I mean, he's got friends. He's got his found family.
Yeah.
He got the girl.
He got the
I think
girl
he's-
by
yeah.
giving her a beautiful lipstick knife. I mean, what does
That-
anyone else
Don't you-
want?
That would win you over straight away.
Would. It
He
would.
sees her. He really
Jacob.
sees her.
Yeah. Yeah, I gotta say, I think I would prefer to hang out with Jada and Nobody and Dennis. But I do appreciate Dave with his full like old fisherman face mask. Like that was good stuff. That was good stuff, Dave. Dave came through for us in the end. Kinda.
Dave sort of redeemed himself in
Yeah.
a way.
Yeah.
I mean, he was very ready to just let them go. He was very ready to let them all just go to jail forever until he was like, maybe there's a way I can benefit from this.
Yeah.
But that's
Yeah.
his way. That's who he is. He's consistent.
He is consistent. He is.
I feel like you've got to decide if you want to be on, if you're going to go for the original lot, the 90s lot. Is that are we psychologically doing some profiling here where you're deciding that you're with the original lot and you are going to become one of those assassins and you're giving yourself the freedom to be a psychotic killer for life? Or with the new lot where, okay, you've got a past. Let's admit that there's a past, but you're going to try and change and you're going to try and move on and you're going to try and make yourself better. So it's kind of like, nah, let's live in the moment, murder, death, kill, or let's have personal growth and development. Because the original crew got better music, let's face it.
Yes.
That's a really insightful point, that on the one hand, it's just a fantasy of being like a total hedonist who just embraces their shadow self. And on the other side, you have like the very hard work that all mature adults must do, which is like admitting your faults and then setting about making better choices. So in that sense, yeah, throw me with Dave and Janine. Let's go.
See, that's why
wacky.
I'm trying to justify my choice of actually wanting to be with Dave, Janine, and Dogmask and the other guys, because I feel like we know Jada and Nobody, Dennis, and that crew, and I don't feel like I necessarily fit in with that crew. We don't know the other ones so much from back in the 90s, so you could easily get into it. And it doesn't say that you would become a psychotic killer. Well, I mean, you probably are, but you could be the villain, Amanda,
Yes.
or you could be the villain long enough to become the hero.
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
you could be like the signal of that group, because that group just doesn't have like what changes the modern day group is that they have a signal. They have someone in there who is like just a sweetheart and who wants to like see them as people. So you could come in and see them as people, and yeah.
I think I'd rather just straight up be a murderer. So just I'm gonna join the 90s crew too, I think. Just
Murder, death, kill. Murder,
Yeah.
death, kill.
yeah, I think it's fine.
Better music for sure.
Yes. Yeah.
Doing it for the banging tunes.
Just have the, I'm a bitch coming in, blasting overhead as you walk into camp.
Why was it that song?
Oh,
Just very the ultimate 90s.
Of all the songs in the
I'm a sinner, I'm a saint.
You can see it. That's so cinematic. You're just walking along and just killing everybody with every single one.
I'm nothing in between. You know you wouldn't want me any other way.
Explosion in the background. Smash cut to the library in the cabin in the woods.
I gotta re-listen to that song. It's been too many years. That's a
Oh,
good tune.
it's on my regular playlist.
Oh, are you single
Good
repeating it?
jam.
That and the
I
cranberries.
might be. I
Gotta
might
have the
be.
cranberries. Gotta have zombie.
Yes.
Oh yes. Oh
Yeah.
God, I listened to that song on single repeat for sure. And like it was like a Discman in high school.
Yes.
That and a lot of Smashing Pumpkins.
Mm,
Smashing Pumpkins.
Alanis Morissette was the
Nice.
soundtrack of my 90s.
Oh,
I'm just
Black
glad that
Little Pill, one of the best albums ever.
thank
I
you,
will
India.
fight anybody who says
that's a
otherwise.
good song. Oh, but nope, we went with Meredith Brooks, friends.
Should be Oh, dear me.
What's our next question?
Would you rather give someone to the sketchy government or to your sketchy brother for sketchy experiments? Either way, it's sketchy and bad times.
Mm.
Well, I think we've already established that the government in this scenario is a bit of a bumbling comedic duo
In our sitcom, yes.
in our sitcom world, yes.
Oh,
So you could stick with that one, or you could make them competent.
oh.
I feel like the sketchy government would not be personally invested. Like they're just clocking in, they're doing their job. They got to put the electrodes on you and shoot you up with a chemical. But they're working for the weekend. Whereas sketchy brother is just personally delighted with every flicker of pain that crosses your face. He's like, whoa. So like you don't want the guy who loves his work. You don't want a guy who has like a passion for chemical torture. You want the guy who's just like, well, kids really enjoy Disneyland. I'm gonna need you to flip over so I can insert this rod into the base of your spine.
You want the person who treats it as a job.
Yes.
Exactly.
How was your day, dear?
Definitely.
Well, it was a rectal exam.
It's
It
just
depends as
fine.
well on your relationship with your sibling. Because, if you quite like your sibling, then you want to give them the person so they can have their sketchy experiment fun. If you don't, then you don't want to do that because you want to throw the roadblocks. I have a feeling like I don't want to give people to my sketchy brother to do sketchy experiments. My brother is not genuinely sketchy and he wouldn't do these actual experiments. Because I can imagine he'd be on a true crime podcast where they're like, this asshole prick did all these really weird experiments, and while he was doing it, he got off and he jerked off in his pants, and I'm like, oh
No, took it too far. Too far.
but that's what would happen.
Ugh.
That's the type of thing that would happen.
Ugh.
It's disgusting.
Yeah.
It's disgusting.
I'm gonna go with the 9-to-5er.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna do my 9-to-5 working Joe is gonna be a Dolly Parton fan. That 9-to-5, not you're working for the weekend, because we just
Stumble out of bed.
keep talking about really great old music in every single question. I'm pretty sure it's probably gonna have to happen now. Challenge extended.
Stumble to the kitchen. I poured myself a mug with ambition.
Mhm.
Yawn and stretch and try to come to life.
Thank you. That's really good.
Whilst bringing my experiment back to life. Whoa.
You're like Dolly Parton Frankensteining.
Yes. Yes.
Good. Okay.
I can imagine that mashup.
Oh yeah. Bride of
Let's
Frankenstein
help
with
the
like Dolly
sketchy
smile.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly. Let's help the government guy reach his torture target.
Yes. Let's get
His
him
quota.
to early
Yes.
retirement.
We want him to have a nice bonus at Christmas time so he can buy his kids the latest thing. What are
Yes.
kids into these days? I don't know.
I don't know.
Pogs? Do still play Pogs?
No, well, if we're in the 90s, yes.
Yeah, okay. They're Pogs.
$45 worth of pogs.
Yes.
And a whiskey so he can drink away his sad memories. He
He
needs to
also needs
pay
a
for his,
slammer.
he needs to pay for his therapy.
Oh, and those watches. Remember those like baby grand watches where they had like they're like very strappy watches. And like I feel like watches had a moment from like 2001 to like whenever iPhones or smartphones happened, and then they just kind of went away. But they
Yeah.
had a moment.
Yeah.
I'm actually upset with myself because I do not have my watches on right now. I normally am wearing a Swatch watch, and with this outfit, it would be my black Swatch with the really long thing, but I don't have a watch on today. I'm really upset with myself. I'm kind of disgusted.
We're upset with you too, if that makes you
You
feel any
should
better.
be. Oh my God, it's
So
embarrassing.
disappointed right now. Shocking.
Okay, next question. And this one is directly from the book. Screw over everyone in your life or you never get to see me again is not a choice, Eric. Which would you rather do? You gonna screw over everybody, or are you gonna screw Eric? Even though he's not interested in that right now.
On the floor. I just love that he's like secretly a germaphobe. He's like looking around like
Oh,
she
it is
doesn't
right
know what she's
now
getting into.
in this construction site. Oh, ooh.
Gets
Like
the rubber
sleeping.
gloves
I
out and
found
the
this.
domestos and just starts scrubbing things down. Now
Yeah.
we have a clean patch.
He's like, I found this sleeping bag on the bus. I don't.
Oh no,
This is not the time.
no.
I'm pleased. I'm pleased actually that he has that sense.
Yeah, no.
Sense of relief actually that he thinks,
Yes.
oh no.
He's a
Yes.
bit of a gentleman. He's a bit of a gentleman deep down.
Is.
It's just
He
not safe
really
nor
is.
hygienic.
No. I love Eric
Screw
so
over
much.
everyone in your life or you never get to see me again. Are we talking about Signal or are we talking about us?
Well, I mean, that's the choice he presents her in the book is like basically burn bridges with everyone else that you know, and you can be with me nonstop, or I'll just never see you again, and you can continue being an honorable person who, you know, stays true to her word and helps her friends. Like, what would you rather have? Like true love or community, essentially.
I
And
don't mind
Signal's
getting
kind
rid
of
of
like,
Signal.
hmm?
I'm gonna get rid of Signal. I struggle with her
I know.
sometimes. I'll push her off the bridge, you know. I
Oh,
would listen to her and I'd be like, yeah, Signal, go. And I'll listen again and go, oh, Signal, shut up, man. And then I'll listen next time and go, yeah, Signal. Honestly, I was swings and roundabouts with Signal all the way through. So I'm not going to cry if she disappears and Eric doesn't screw off everybody in his life. Tough
fair,
decision.
fair, honest and fair.
One person over the many.
The greater good.
Yeah, if that's how you want to package it.
I don't know. I think I hate this question, and I'm sorry that I
It's a
asked
question
it.
that should never be asked. You should
I
never
know.
ever say to somebody, screw over everyone or you never see me again. You never make those type of ultimatums. Never make an ultimatum unless you're prepared not to be the one that's picked.
Ah. But like, I am very. I am the type of person who, you know what? As long as I have my one true love, that's all I need. So I guess fuck everybody else. It's fine. I've got my psychopathic love. Let's do it. We can make new friends.
Continues. Yeah.
If you've got Dolly Parton, you can make new friends.
It's true. Dolly Parton Frankenstein can make us new friends.
Yes.
I feel like being the puppet master of these characters, I feel like if she were to choose Eric in that moment, he would just immediately turn on a dime and be like, thank you for choosing me. Okay, like now how do we help our friends? Like I feel like he just wants to hear that she would choose him. You know, like he's just been in this position where he's always been like kind of misjudged or kind of slotted behind someone else in terms of affection. So I think what he really wants in this situation is just for someone to be like, you are my number one priority. I'm on your team. Like whatever it takes to make you happy. Like that's just really what he needs to hear. And then once he hears that, he'll do whatever makes her happy. But he just kind of needed to hear that. And on the other hand, like he was also coming at her with a lot, you know, to say, oh, I've been proposed to by a pop star. And I have like a whole like dream life lined up for when this doesn't work out between us is a lot for anyone to hear. And he was being shady with the music video, like even though he didn't mean to be shady. Signal is allowed to have boundaries, and I'm proud of her for kind of for defensively protecting her own feelings, because I think that's what she was doing when she was protecting her own feelings. So I think they both wanted to hear something else from this conversation, and they both kind of acted defensively. And I think that's true for that age and that stage. And I don't know. I think I'm more on Amanda's page, where I would end up just, flying off with my goose, flying off with my mate for life and being like, sorry, everybody. But I like that Signal. I like that Signal went out of her comfort zone here, and I like that she held her line with Eric, because I think she can be very susceptible to him.
Yeah. I do really appreciate what you said, though. And I like just hearing you say it out loud. I was like, yeah, you're totally right. You're totally right. That's all Eric needs right now, is to just hear, oh my God, someone is finally choosing me for me. Now I'll do anything that they want. You're right.
She keeps telling him that. He's not listening, though. She shows him and she tells him all the time, and he's got blinkers on, and he doesn't see it. It's like he needs to be slapped with it, because constantly Signal is telling him, constantly. She's reinforcing it all the time with her actions, and it's like he's just blind to it. It's so frustrating. He needs a shake.
Well, I think for him, just the fact that she's trying to clear her name, it's like in his mind, he's like, well, why do you have to clear your name? I have to be a fugitive forever. So if you're with me, like, why do you need to clear your name? And like, he
so she can go
understands.
to the supermarket and not be arrested.
But she's getting her groceries delivered.
Yeah.
Sometimes, though, they don't deliver it, especially at Christmas, if you're not quick enough at getting the slots booked in. I've had to book Mike's Christmas slot in 2 months ago, and you don't catch it quick enough, you get a terrible slot. And sometimes you can't get the stuff that's delivered.
People will buy crazy in person. If they see a good deal on Brussels sprouts, it's gone. It's over.
Oh, I love it when the Brussels sprouts are 50 pence a packet Christmas week.
I love Brussels sprouts.
Had them last
Really
night.
stir-fried. I like stir-fried Brussels sprouts.
Get a little bacon in there, a little maple syrup.
Put some
Oh,
leeks
yeah.
in there. And soy sauce. Soy sauce, sprouts and leeks with some potatoes that are mashed down slightly.
Oof.
Amazing. Amazing comfort food.
It's amazing. It sounds like you're going to be the chef in our sitcom relationship.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Okay. What's our last would you rather question? Oh, they just keep getting worse.
Would you rather the Wiley Stanton exist in real life or not? And would you take it?
I don't know if I trust our government right now
Oh, hell no.
to do the right
I do
thing.
not trust your government one bit. No, I trust the current government as of the date of recording in 2024. I do
Right.
not trust the incoming
The
government
incoming government.
one iota.
Yeah. We got a road to hoe, don't we?
Yes,
We
we
got
do.
a real. I'm not going to be reading so many dystopias for the next 4 years. I think I'm going to just file those away and maybe.
Let's just have some sexy romances. I did see on the internet the other day that apparently there's a cruise company or for American citizens only offering to do a 4-year cruise to completely avoid the administration.
That
Are the
could be
slots
amazing.
full? Are the slots already full?
I was wondering how
Are the
much it would
slots looking-
cost.
Is there a school
Probably-
on the boat? Can I bring my kid?
Well,
And we'll just
there
get
probably
dig
would
in.
be, but the thing is, though, the only people who'd be able to go on that cruise ship are the people who can afford it, and the other ones will benefit most by certain people being in power.
I don't know that anyone benefits from certain people being in power.
No, depends whose pocket, who's there. Follow the money. That's all I'm saying. Anywho, why does Stanton exist, real life or not?
No. We don't want anything like this. Or like, if you have this, make it like a personality quiz. Make it something you take for fun. But like,
If the Wiley Stanton was a BuzzFeed quiz, I'd take it.
yeah, exactly.
Yes.
And there already is like big issues with like racial bias in the data sets that affect how AI interprets like levels of recidivism and like it's already an issue that like like racial bias in the past being used as a data set for like AI, which is used, there have been attempts to apply AI to judicial processes, and people have to kind of tap the brakes and be like, whoa, 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 do we want to perpetuate the mistakes of the past forever by incorporating them in a black box algorithm? This is, when I wrote this book, this was very like speculative fiction to be like, oh, what if AI could have a hand in determining like parole limits? And like now it's like probably something that's going to happen in the next 5 years. Like it's very scary to me how few people can articulate what AI is and what it does and what larger learning machines, large language models do. Myself included, that like there's a lot of disinformation around it, and at the same time a lot of trust that people are like, oh yeah, that sounds right about like ChatGPT when it still hallucinates quite a bit.
I was at a conference in Prague and I went to one of the sessions, and the guy running the sessions, he said if you use ChatGPT to do this particular thing, don't, because ChatGPT is shit. And the entire auditorium, and it was the big hall, cheered.
That makes me so happy, because there are a lot of conferences and things here, for public librarians. They're like, yeah, use ChatGPT. I'm like, no, use your own brain. Stop trying. Just try a little bit. You have to think for yourself. Stop giving those thoughts away and then making them into something horrible. I can't stand it. I can't stand that that's where the future is headed. We're just giving it all to the robots, and then there's going to be a robot uprising.
Oh, it's like nobody's seen Terminator, honestly. It
Right?
Like and in my like working field, AI comes up a heck of a lot, and
Yes.
how it can actually help in the day-to-day of what we can do. And there's a lot of people confused between what's AI and what's a tool. They are two very different things, but also because of, it comes down to cite your sources. It's, well, where do you get the information from that formulates the AI that can make algorithms that go in? So there's not that trust there, and what's the access that's being given to it, or basically what's the provenance. And if platforms aren't willing to tell you or have transparency in that, you don't trust the platform. Don't at all. But people build in, that is in academia, people build in things into their questions, so then they can run checks to see if AI has written the answers. And it's very simple stuff. It's like in tiny subscript in all white, there'll be a random question added in. So you copy and paste it over into ChatGPT or one of the many other AI systems out there. And then you think, right, I've answered the question there, you go and submit it. And then the person goes, why have you written an entire paragraph about cheese when it's supposed to be a topic about cancer? And it's like, you've just thrown that in there. And that's like a very basic way of checking in academia how to do it. And yeah, it's very, the amount of webinars and conference presentations I've sat in where it talks about AI, but they're not telling me how AI works and how it will benefit my job. It's selling me AI. And that's like, this is a waste of time.
Yeah.
Well,
absolutely waste of time.
A lot of why like where the Riley Stanton came from was like I had a job before I was a creative writer where I worked for Microsoft at writing these like daily like kind of news amalgamation things, and we worked off of a proprietary algorithm that Microsoft had where they would kind of analyze Bing searches as they went in, find the search terms that were the most popular. Then we were supposed to retroactively research that topic, find any articles that were like being shared, and write stuff directed toward the search terms. So like the idea was that we could kind of catch people at point of entry with like their searches and just provide them the article like as they were searching it. But like the popular search terms every day were One Direction, pizza, and cats. All the other stuff underneath was like the most disinformation, like just, and this was during the Obama administration, so things hadn't spun out quite as wildly politically, but it was all just like bad faith, like trending articles. And then like when we were sourcing this stuff, we had this rate of like we had to do a story an hour. And I had an editor who was like very conscientious, where he was like, you always have to cite two sources before we go to publish. Like, I want to make sure all of you have two sources. Like, you have to link those two sources to me before we put anything up on the site. This is like for MSN Now, so it's a huge like mass market audience. And like a lot of the time when you would you'd find one article that was trending, you'd summarize it, you'd go back to find another article, and every article you found was like essentially a mirror site of the first article. So you'd have an article on like, this happened, some immigrant person in New York City like did this like shocking crime, and then you'd go to try to be like, okay, well, where's the second source for this? And it would just be a copy and paste of that initial article in like 12 different outlets. So I think a lot of people see the internet as like well researched, like an academic paper, but there is just a lot of content floating around the internet from like that kind of like Upworthy, BuzzFeed, MSN Now era, where people were generating content as fast as they could to capture audience for advertisers. And so you have this like ocean of not fantastically sourced information that like AI is pulling on, because AI's data set is largely free information on the internet. And there was this fantastic article in the New Yorker about how ChatGPT right now is kind of like a lossy compression of the internet, where it's like kind of this patchy, blurry JPEG of the internet. And then the internet itself requires a lot of human navigation to get a sense of the tone of the source and where it's coming from, and if it's like a propaganda site or if it's like a personal blog, or like, so just in navigating the internet, it's become a lot harder in recent years to kind of differentiate between like, oh, this is like a political propagandist acting in bad faith versus this is a cited news site versus this is someone's blog about like, how to make Triscuits or whatever. But on top of that, asking a large language model to sort through that when it's not like, it has no rationale or experience, it's simply adding up statistical variations of words and projecting them back to us. You are baking in so much like disinformation and like stereotypical language and just like bad facts. It's really terrible. Like if that's going to be our Library of Alexandria that we like use to create curriculums or tutors, it's a dark age. I'm sorry, I've been talking for 20 minutes. Please edit this.
Do you know what annoys me right now? If you go on at Google and Google anything, the first thing it does is come up with this AI thing at the top. I'm like, no, I don't know where that's come from. I ignore you.
Yeah.
But a simplistic version, I remember saying this to Amanda ages ago. We were trying to look for recommendations on a book, and I don't know which book it was, but we always recommend books in the episode. And I went onto Goodreads, put the book that we were talking about in, scrolled to the bottom and looked and to see what it said was other people who've read this have also read this, and it was pure fictional hangover books.
It was
so it's like
we broke like, our own algorithm.
The algorithms can be broken so easily because of your search history and how people are feeding that information in. So it's like I was like, Amanda, I don't know what book I'm going to recommend.
Yeah. I'm glad that that's the question that we ended with. And it's kind of the reason why I wanted to ask that question to begin with, is because you have a lot of knowledge. And I really wanted to hear your thoughts about this in a real world situation. So thank you.
Yeah, sorry for the rant.
No, it's
obviously
so
this
good.
is in my mind. It's in my mind a lot.
All right. If you liked this, try this. What can you possibly suggest?
I had absolutely freaking no clue. I was trying to think of something with exploding helicopters, so I thought Jackson Ford, but I was like, no, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
But then I was thinking, well, maybe he's Mercer's King of Moor High. But if you don't already know to go and read that book, where have you been?
Right.
And I was like, you know what, I'm just going to go to the internet. I'm going to go and do a Google.
I did the same thing.
Cool. So I found one that sounds very interesting. And the first line won me over. It's called Your Lonely Nights Are Over by Adam Sass. Scream meets Clueless.
Yes.
Sold.
Done.
In this YA horror from Adam Sass, in which two gay teen BFFs find their friendship tested when a serial killer starts targeting their school's queer club. Deary and Cole are inseparable, unlikable, and In bad luck for them, totally unbelievable. From the day they met, Deary and Cole have been two against the world. But whenever something bad happens at Stone Grove High School, they get blamed. Why? They're beautiful, flirtatious, dangerously clever queen bees, and they're always ready to call out their fellow students. But they've never faced a bigger threat than surviving senior year, when Mr. Sandman, a famous, never-caught serial killer, emerges from long retirement, and his hunting ground is their school queer club. As evidence and bodies begin piling up and suspicion points at Deary and Cole, they will need to do whatever it takes to unmask the real killer before they and the rest of the queer club are taken down. But they're not getting away from the killer without a fight. Along the way, they must confront dark truths hidden beneath the surface of their small desert community. When the world is stacked against them and every flop they know is a suspect, can Deary and Cole stop Mr. Sandman's rampage? Or will their lonely nights soon be over?
Oh.
It sounds like an absolute hoot.
It really does.
And the cover of the book as well reminded me of Teen Killers Club books. It's that kind of like illustration. So yeah, it sung to me. It leapt out of the screen.
Very nice.
What have you got?
Okay. My suggestion comes from clicking around on Goodreads. Even though we often talk about how we've broken the Goodreads algorithm, if you take a few steps in, you can sometimes get some good things. So this one sounded pretty good to me. It's called The One That Got Away with Murder by Trish Lundy. But like the cover is The One That Got Away, and then like the font changes and the color is bad with murder.
I am going to have a look while you tell us what it's about.
All right. Robbie and Trevor Cressmont have a body count, the killer kind. Handsome and privileged, the Crestmont brothers have enough wealth to ensure they'll never be found guilty of any wrongdoing, even if all of Happy Valley believes they're behind the deaths of their ex-girlfriends. First, there was soccer star Victoria Moreno, Robbie's ex, who mysteriously drowned at the family lake house. Then, a year later, Trevor's girlfriend died of a suspicious overdose. But the Cressmonts aren't the only ones with secrets. Lauren O'Brien might be the new girl at school, but she's never been a good girl. With a dark past of her own, she's desperate for a fresh start. Except when she starts a no-strings-attached relationship with Robbie, her chance is put in jeopardy. During what's meant to be their last weekend together, Lauren stumbles across shocking evidence that just might implicate Robbie. With danger closing in, Lauren doesn't know who to trust, and after a third death rocks the town, she must decide whether to end things with Robbie or risk becoming another cautionary tale.
Oh. The cover does look fun as well. Those are good.
Yeah.
Murder. Is there potentially a new indie spotlight we can showcase?
Yes, yeah. This one got on NetGalley because for some reason people will insist on sharing with us lots of new adult romantasy, like sexy fun books, and to our email address. So I had to go digging for, one about murder.
We need the algorithm to change.
I know, we do. Murder all the time. Okay, so I found this one on NetGalley. It's called Murder Between Friends by Liz Lawson. I know, it's precious. It's coming out April of next year.
Cool.
Grace, Henry, and Allie grew up together on the same block. They used to be best friends until Grace's testimony put Henry's brother Jake away for killing their English teacher. Now, 2 years later, Allie and Henry hate Grace, and Grace is doubting what she thinks she saw that night. It feels like everyone's getting a second chance. Then, when due to a mistrial, Jake is suddenly released. And Henry knows his brother is innocent. But when Grace reaches out to say she's rethinking what she saw the night of the murder, Jake's reaction is confusing. He doesn't want Henry or Grace getting involved. For Allie, not getting involved isn't an option, and there's nothing Grace can say to convince Allie she's not the enemy. But can Allie afford to push Grace out when she's one of the only other people willing to believe in Jake's innocence? The clock is ticking. Jake's new trial date is about to be set, and he's sure to be found guilty again unless there's new evidence to prove he's innocent. Grace, Henry, and Allie are going to have to decide whether you can trust an old friend now that they're your enemy.
I'm getting How to Survive Your Murder vibes from this.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It's kind of got that...
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And to understand what the is, you have to subscribe to our Patreon to get access to the videos.
That's right. Yeah. But really, all you can subscribe to our Patreon and watch all of our videos for just $1 a month.
Bargain.
Bargain.
That is a bargain.
It's a great Christmas present to us.
Yes. Oh.
It's just $1. Just $1 a month. Or you could do $3 a month, or $5 a month, or $15 a month. Those are all great Christmas presents to Fictional Hangover.
There. Yeah. Different perks at different levels.
Yeah. Okay. That's it for this episode of Fictional Hangover. I'm Amanda.
And I'm Claire.
Join us next time as we discuss Mislaid in Parts Half Known by Shannon Maguire, part of the Wayward Children series. Look out for our Would You Rather polls and monthly challenges on social media. Don't forget about our book club on Discord. Be sure to visit our shop on Redbubble at fictionalhangover.redbubble.com for all your favorite Fictional Hangover-themed merchandise and Christmas presents. And become a patron of ours on Patreon at patreon.com/fictionalhangover for a Christmas present. Until next time, remember, the only cure for a fictional hangover is another book.
And a fictional hangover Christmas present.
A little heavy-handed there at the end, but it's fine. Fine.
You can find us at fictionalhangover.com and follow us on all social media at Fictional Hangover. If you like this episode, check out our others and be sure to rate, review and subscribe so you don't miss out. Thanks for listening.